N40ZI, W4AX.
Okay, W4AX in the pre-net, N40ZI. Well, I wasn't on last week due to lightning, and also I goobered up my feed line to my 80-meter antenna. Mother's Day, I was out planting some plants for Ann, making her happy, and my shovel hit the feed line to the 80-meter antenna and gashed it pretty good. Went in and checked it, SWR through the roof, so I knew time to place an order to DX Engineering. It got here on late Wednesday night, and Thursday I had the cable replaced and back on the air. But the in-fed long wire was what I was using, and it was pretty odd. Very directional. Some stations I could barely hear, and others were booming in. Just don't like that in-fed long wire, but it's better than nothing. Let's continue down the list to Dr. Ron, WB4GWA. About some comments for the pre-net. This is N40ZI.
Okay, Alan, N40ZI from WB4GWA. Good evening, everybody who's checked in. And I won't go down the list, but good evening, everybody. Y'all sound good. And I was copying Don. He's beginning to kind of make it Concord, so that's good. Like I said, I found a DX60B at a tailgate here in Forsyth, which is not too far from us. And it had the matching HR10 receiver. Both of them were just as clean as they could be. And I got them even cleaner, and then started doing my work on them, and tore all the audio section out of the DX60B and rebuilt all of that, and changed it to full screen grid modulation. So I'm gonna have that on hopefully next week or so. And the HR10, boy, I'm telling you, you talk about a challenge. That is one challenging receiver. And he made those things for about 8 or 9 years, you know. And they're pretty deaf on 20, 15, and 10 because they use the second harmonic as an injection point, and it makes it kind of weak. But boy, I chased problems with that thing. I went in and did a lot of modifications to it to make it sound a little bit better, and man, I had all kind of problems. I had 3 tubes in a row that were bad in that thing, and to make it worse, I got my stock of tubes out and started sticking some of my tubes in there to fix up things, and I had 2 of those that were bad. So man, I chased all day long. And you know what, if you got bad tubes, that's the last thing you typically think about. And these 6EA8s and 6EB8 for the output tube, audio output tube, they're fairly difficult to come by, but I happen to have some, and boy, I chased those things till I finally got that thing settled down. And it sounds reasonably good on 80 and 40, but it is sure not a 75A4 or anything like that, or any of the Hallicrafters receivers, to be sure. But I've been playing with that and enjoying it, so we'll keep working on it. Back to you, Alan. Sound good tonight. N40ZI from WB4GWA in Concord.
Okay. Dr. Ron, WB4GWA in the SAMRC Swap and Fellowship Prenet, N40ZI. You know, I got a Comanche receiver, and it's a Heathkit, and it was meant for mobile use, and it is loud and scratchy and not very great sounding. But then I realized, well, it is meant for mobile use back in the 60s when few people had air conditioning. You had to roll the windows down, and that's what it needed. So it's kind of living up to its spec, but it's not the smoothest receiver in the world, that's for sure. It doesn't have the best audio, but it does fairly well. It is what it is. That's basically the way it is. great, Dr. Rod. Great to hear you. Let me see if we have any other check-ins. This is the SAMRC Swap and Fellowship Prenet. Any other check-ins for the Prenet coming in? Well, we had a nice smooth carrier, but no audio. You can try it again? Okay, Billy. KO4SSY. Got you in there. Any other check-ins? All right, not hearing any at the moment. I got you in there, Billy. You'll come after Don. So let's go to Perry. I've got some comments for the Prenet, Perry. K4CWW, this is N4OZI.
Okay, thank you. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can get the drive adjusted here a little. Opportunity. No? Red. Okay, here we go. All right, everything's compensated now. K4CWW. The 3885 Mafia. Everybody sounds good. I'm enjoying the comments. I like that in Tuscaloosa tonight, right? I'm a program antenna. I'm going to have to get psychologically adjusted, though, because just reading this thing, random links that have to be on either side of it now. I couldn't get the SWR thing to run to 1. I run about 1.3 to 1. No problem, but psychologically I'm used to seeing a meter line on the pig to get through tuning, so. But I may leave it like this for a while. You guys can hear me. And Don over there, Yakna. I haven't run into you in a while. We've been frantically going back and forth between here and Georgia. And Will's got some equipment on him. He's had some victories, but he's not out of the woods. In fact, the tumor had to suspend treating him because he got picked up a bad bacterial infection, and then he was in the hospital 3.5 weeks. A little later, he picked up another one, and then picked up a yeast infection. So he's on 3 intravenous antibiotics right now, trying to get him back into normal range on all his parameters before they can resume any treatment. In the meantime, the tumor has grown some. It's right in a place it's pressing, and it's squeezed off the junction between his stomach exit and his small intestine. So nothing can get out of his stomach into his small intestines. So we've got a bypass arrangement worked up on that for right now. So I don't know. He's got some big time challenges. But they say he can live like he is now till he gets his infections under control, and then his oncologist is still with him and remaining reasonably optimistic. He's going to resume some treatment on him as soon as they can get the white blood cell count and all that stuff. And he had some lesions or abscesses in his liver as part of this, not cancers, but abscesses from the infection. So anyway, but you guys have been great for sticking with us. I appreciate it very much aware of it, and we need all the crowd we can assemble. So, Ellen, thank you for working me into the rotation tonight. So I guess without further ado, I'll let you keep on moving on. I brought a salad out here with me. I'm back on behavior. I'll say this for Kevin's benefit. Kevin, after my surgery, I had shortness of breath problems, and you need to lose some weight. And I went on the run diet, 12-part run. Oatmeal for breakfast, nothing for lunch, and a salad for dinner. And as long as I was doing that, I was losing about 1.5 pounds a day, but I went in for a checkup at the clinic after a while. And I said, I'm feeling lousy. And they said, well, what are you eating? And I told them, and they said, well, you're eating worse than a prisoner of war. You got to put some real food in there to keep it interesting. So I put some real food in there, and I started enjoying life immediately a lot more, but I quit losing weight. So I've been flat for about a month. And we figured tonight it's about time to get off the vacation and get back to the real deal, oatmeal nothing, and a salad. With some pico gallo on it. All right, N4OZI, K4CWW.
Okay, Perry. K4CWW, N4OZI. Yeah, I know how that is. I'm down to just one meal a day, but I try to make the most of it. And we'll keep rolling our prayers. Like I say, they not out of the woods yet. And but I know a friend of mine. I went to high school with her, and her daughter went through quite a battle there for about 2 years, and they finally got out of it. She's been doing good, and is recovered from it quite nicely. So it just times get tough, but she hung in there with it, and we always kept her daughter in our prayers, and she finally got out of the woods on that. So we're praying for the same thing for Will. If there's anything we can do for you, just let us know. All right, let's take a standby and see if we have any other check-ins. This is the SAMRC Swap and Fellowship Prenet. This is N4OZI. Any other check-ins for the Prenet? Come now. Okay, we got you in there, Larry. K3FZD. Any other check-ins? Okay, not hearing anyone from that. Now we can put you in behind Billy. So, I think Kevin's there. He may be in the kitchen preparing something. And if he's not, we'll pick him up on the net. WA4KM, if you're there, it's N4OZI. Nope, I figured he was in the kitchen, so we'll go to Eddie. KA4AMI, how about some comments for the Prenet, Eddie? This is N4OZI. Strike two for that. We'll try to pick up Eddie at the net. How about W4OB? How about some comments for the Prenet, Ray? This is N4OZI.
N4OZI, this is W4OB. Well, a very good evening to you, Alan, and to all on the Prenet. All good signals this evening. And Perry, we certainly, I'm keeping Will in my prayers. I hope he gets over that yeast infection so that he can resume his treatments. So he's had such a tough time, but you've been such a great dad, to take care of him as you do. So, but I'm glad he's home, and hope he gets over that infection. We had a great trip to Texas over the last couple of weeks, and we went there to celebrate our oldest grandson's high school reunion, graduation, and so it was really special. And but when I was out there at our son Matt and his family, I was able to put up an antenna over 3 of the live oaks in Matt's backyard, and but it took me many tries. I had one of those easy hang sinker with the Zebco reel, and I didn't have the right drag or something, so I had about four false starts each one. Sometimes I had to cut the line and start over, but finally I was able to get that sinker to go over 3 live oaks, and so Matt has a really nice antenna. So hopefully the fact that he's a medical doctor makes his time very scarce, but when he is, I hope he gets on the air and we can work some 40 meters. So there you go. Well, Alan, let me send it back to you. We've got a great group going on the Prenet tonight, and conditions are fine. So, and by the way, I love all those Native American tribe names from Heathkit. We mentioned the Comanche, and of course, Dr. Ron, you are working on your, actually we didn't have an Indian name for that, but I am on the Apache, so we've got to keep those tribe names going. On to you, Alan, N4OZI. This is W4OB.
Okay, Ray. The W4OB in the SAMRC Swap and Fellowship Prenet, that's N4OZI. Yeah, the Apache sounds good. Sounds good. And it's heavy, too. That's a big transmitter. And, but it always does you a really good job, and it sounds real good. And, yeah, I think the only Heathkit that I got around here is the Comanche, and the only reason I have it was that that was the receiver I had, not that very radio, but that was a receiver. The Comanche was the receiver I had as a novice, so I got a lot of fond memories of it. Sold it some years ago, kind of missed it, and bought another one off eBay that looks pretty much very similar to the one I had, and that's the only one I have around here, but they come in handy. They do. And let's see. Let's take another standby, see if we have any other check-ins before we go to Bob. Any other check-ins for the Prenet? Call now.
W4GUZ.
Okay, got you in there, Brandon. W4GUZ. Any other check-ins? All right, not hearing any, so let's move on down the list to Bob. K4BKC, how about some comments for the Prenet? This N4OZI.
N4OZI and the Prenet. This is K4BKC. Well, good evening, Alan, and good evening to everyone on the Prenet. It's a good group of folks here. It's all sounding good. The band's not perfect yet. It's a little QSB up here, still some early root fades on some of the stations, but mostly good. It's been a good day here in Columbia. It's 79 right now. It's been up in the 80s, and a little bit humid, but not bad. No projects right now. Well, interesting hearing about Dr. Ron's Heathkit project. And Mac, I'll do my best to try to get up earlier. It's getting harder and harder as I get old. But I'll make an effort. I'll try. On the 20V2 tonight, and listening on the R390, everybody again sounded really nice. Back to you, Alan. N4OZI, K4BKC.
Okay, Bob. K4BKC in the Prenet, N4OZI. Yeah, it's getting easier for me to get up earlier and earlier because it gets lighter earlier. What is it? We got about one more month, and then we hit the solstice, and that'll be the longest day. And gosh, I got up early this morning, looking out at 6:30, and it's like it's starting to get light out. I have to get the bird feeders and put them back out there because the crazy raccoons try to get them. So if I wait too long, the birds get a little impatient. But I was out there at 6:30 and marveling at the fact that the days are getting so long. All right, let's see if we can pick up Don over in Mississippi. See if you got any comments for the Prenet, Don. This is N4OZI. I'm not hearing Don, but I do have a WA4 Delta Hotel. Are you checking into the SAMRC Prenet?
He's talking, Alan.
Brian's talking, Alan. K4BKC. turned it back to you, Ira.
All right. Yeah, he must have taken quite a fade right when I turned it to him. But I could tell it was in there, and it came up a little bit there during that transmission. But appreciate it, Don. We'll see if we can get you in a little bit better once we get to the net. This is InfoZI. This is the SAMRC Swap and Fellowship Pre-Net. Let's go on down to Billy, KO4SSY. How about some comments for the Pre-Net, Billy? This is InfoZI.
Good evening to you, Alan. Hopefully, is the audio a little better there?
Oh, yeah, you're sounding good.
Yeah, I had to remember that on this LMAC, when I'm running the amplifier, I have to turn it down some, so when I'm not running the amplifier, I have to turn it back up. So, apologize for that. Thank you for picking me up, sounding good as always. And, yeah, the band's kind of sloppy here as far as far out. I can't hardly hear the guys, so, but you're strapping in quite well. I could hear Bob, mediocre, and just different ones. So, anyways, hopefully it'll get better. Appreciate you for picking me up. I'll be hanging out, just waiting around. Once again, let's say we're on the LMAC, receiving on the RCA AR 88. Back over to you, Alan. N4OZI, KO4SSY.
Okay, Billy. Well, you're sounding real good. Audio sounds great. Coming in just fine. So, the adjustment's working out just fine. This is InfoZI. This is the SAMRC Swap and Fellowship Pre-Net. And let's see, we got a little bit of time, about 2 more minutes, so we'll take a quick standby and see if we have any other check-ins. Any other check-ins for the Pre-Net? Call now. All right, not hearing any, so go over to Larry for a quick one. K3FZD. How about some comments for the Pre-Net there, Larry? This is InfoZI.
Very good evening, everybody. I'm running a heat kit myself, but it does not have a Native American name on it. It just says DX6, so it's not so exciting. I hope it's coming over, and I hope you're able to copy. Last week there was so much QRM, I don't think I could hardly hear anybody.
Larry? K3FZD, this InfoZI. Well, you're coming in fine. Got a good copy on you over here into Woodstock, so you shouldn't have any problems on the net. It should work out just fine for you. And let's see, we'll take another standby, see if we have any other check-ins for the Pre-Net. Any other check-ins for the Pre-Net? Call now. All right, not hearing any. So, let's see, we're almost at the top of the hour, so we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. Appreciate everybody helping out on the Pre-Net tonight. Conditions a little better than it was last week as we were dodging lightning strikes last week. But looks like it's doing pretty good. But the band's still not quite long as it normally is during this time of evening. But there's a little QRF I've noticed on the signals, but it should work out. Okay, I think I'm supposed to turn it up to Stan, W4KR, but if he doesn't pick it up, Brian will pick it up. That's for BKC. So W4KR, let's go down and take it. This is InfoZI.
Okay, all right, Alan. Good evening. Good evening to you, Alan, and good evening, everybody. This is W4KR, Walhalla, South Carolina. Yep, we got back from a few days up in Michigan this afternoon. Got home about 4 o'clock this afternoon, and I called Bob and said, "Yeah, we're back." Originally, weren't going to be back till tomorrow, and I was going to miss tomorrow night, or tonight rather. But we got home in time, and here I am. Been a long drive today, but that's okay. And I've got a long cup of coffee. I've got a 12-inch mug of coffee here, so hopefully we'll get through the next hour. Again, this is the Southeastern AM Radio Club Swap and Fellowship Net that meets every Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. That's 6 o'clock Central, with the pre-net beginning at 6:30. Depending on who the net control is for that night. The opposite week net control is Sam KF4TXQ, and Kevin WA4KM does his pre-net, and both those cats do pretty well for being old timers here. This is a controlled net. We ask that people stand by, and we'll take standbys periodically to add people to the list. And I appreciate if you wouldn't try and jump in. Other than that, gives the folks that wait to do what we ask, kind of puts them at an unfair advantage. I would suggest that if you're not familiar with w4ami.org, that you look at our website. Dr. Ron, WB4GWA, handles that and does just an outstanding job with the website. It's really informational. There's an awful lot of stuff on that. In fact, Ron told me just not long ago that the hit on that is something in excess of 3,000. So it's being watched. Again, this is the Southeast AM Radio Club Swap and Fellowship Net. We'll begin using the club call W4AMI for the goings on this evening. And side note, if we've heard a little interference there tonight, coming from an old AMer who's over in Florence, over near Florence, South Carolina. I was talking to him this morning, and I invited him to come join us. And I have a hunch he's got a receiver that's deaf tonight. So we'll talk to Bill and get that squared away in days coming by. He's been a ham a long time, going back into the 50s, and he knows what this is about. So it's purely accidental, I know. With that, before we go any further, we're going to take a brief standby to see if there's anyone that has anything to sell or to want that they need or help questions. If you have a need of that sort, come down with your call, please. This is W4AMI. Go ahead. Okay. Bill, we'll get to you in a little bit. Excuse me. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, I didn't hear anybody else. So let's go on. It's the practice that we begin with the officers to give us any club updates or notices that are appropriate for airtime. So with that, we'll start with our club president, Bob, K4BKC, one of the world's really great human beings. K4BKC, this is W4AMI. Go ahead, Robert.
W4AMI, this is K4BKC. Well, I don't know if I can live up to that. Thanks for the introduction, Stan. Glad you got home safe. We continue to ask for your thoughts and prayers for all the folks that are ill in our group, including Perry's son, Will, W4CWW, and W4CT, and non-W7IUC, and many others that you know of. And we appreciate your thoughts and prayers for those folks. Also, as we approach Memorial Day next Monday, I hope you all have a meaningful and safe weekend as we remember those veterans that have sacrificed so much for our freedom. Also, the Milton Florida Hamfest is coming up July the 7th and 8th down in Milton, Florida. And I know many of you are familiar with the Milton Hamfest. It's coming up here in a couple of months. August 19th and 20th this year. And that is about all I have for tonight. So back to you, Stan. Again, thanks, Alan, for the pre-net, and thank you for picking me up, Stan. W4AMI, K4BKC.
Okay, Bob. Good signal over here tonight. Wow, doing well. Glad to be. It was a great trip. We're glad to be home. The grandma battery charge from the 19-month-old is just about at full charge. Poor old grandma got run wild while she was up there. That 19-year-old is something. She's a sweetheart and very active. Now it's going to be interesting because she's going to come this coming October. She's going to have baby sisters, so we'll see how she adapts, how she acclimates to that. But anyway, we'll see. Had a great time up there. Happy to. We're fortunate. We're blessed to have 3 wonderful children and who are moving the next generation along, and the old man's bragging, but they're all doing very well in this world, and they understand that their mission in life is to try and do something good for everybody, the rest of us. With that, moving on here, I'll turn the brag tape off at this point. Yeah, you can tell me. You can understand, guys. I don't do that very often, but anyway. Okay. Next up is our trustee and our webmaster, and Dr. Ron. Bless you and good to hear you tonight. WB4GWA, W4AMI. Go ahead.
Okay, Stan, W4AMI from WB4GWA. Good evening to you and to everybody again on the net. Good signals coming into Concord tonight, and I'm sure glad to hear everybody. And I'm glad you had a good trip, a good, safe trip. And I know that 19-month-old will probably give her baby sister a run for her money, that's for sure. But grandchildren are something. I tell you, they're the reward for not killing your own kids. I tell you what. But we enjoy ours for sure. Been busy this week working, as I said, on the pre-net on a DX60B and an HR10. And also this week I got my Yagi up in the air, so that's good. My classic 36 Mosley. It's been up about 30 years in 2 or 3 different places. And I got it up in the air. Had a fella help me, and we got that thing put up. But the only caveat to it is that when you rotate the thing, the reflector hits one of the large pine trees that's about 100 feet tall. So there's a limb off of that thing that's hitting the reflector. So I got a bucket truck coming, and we're gonna cut that limb off so I can rotate it fully. But anyway, we're in good shape with that, and that station is out in my shop, and I can slip out there and turn the volume wide open and work some DX from out there. Anyway, having fun. That's what it's about, I guess. W4AMI from WB4GWA in Concord.
Okay, Ron, great. Good signal here tonight. Wow, you're rocking the boat here tonight. Glad to hear it. Glad to have conditions be fairly decent. I understand that last week they were nasty. Well, they were, because I was here listening, and it was really ugly. And I'm kind of half there tonight, so I'm thankful we have good conditions. Next up is our Vice President, the August Dr. Sam, KF4TXQ. Come on in here. What's up? What do you have for us, W4AMI?
Okay, W4AMI in the Southeastern AM Radio Club Swapping Fellowship Net. This is 4 Tango X-Ray Quebec, Daytonville, Alabama. And Stan, you got a good net going here. I've noticed we sort of have peekaboo propagation, though. That happens every once in a while. And I've got a couple of different antenna hookups. They're all inverted V's, but Anyway, just depending on which antenna I switch on, it makes the signal strength vary. So there you go. But anyway, good to hear everybody, no doubt about it. And I wish you the best of future developments for your son. I know that's tough to have to deal with, but he's a trooper, and so are y'all. And we just have to do the best we can. We're doing well here. Miss Mary's doing a lot better. So anyhow, she's getting back into her old interest and so forth. She loves to go to these art classes and all that kind of thing. So she's enjoying that. And me, I just stay back here in my back room, which is my bedroom. This is my man cave, and it's my radio shack, and I love it. So anyway, and of course I got this clone of Little Hoss going now. It's like I told the folks on the early round table, it's going to be a 3-holer. We'll have 3 813s trial-connected parallel. And I'm going to see how that works out. I believe it'll work out all right, though. I've heard the folks doing this, not necessarily on the KISS 500 trial-connected zero bias arrangement. That's been a good experiment for here. So anyway, Stan, you got a good signal, and propagation is a fickle thing, and it's good sometimes, and sometimes it'll take a fade. But anyway, I may be fading out on you. I don't know. But anyway, everybody have a good one. This is Kilo Fox 4 Tango X-Ray Quebec, Dadeville, Alabama, on beautiful Lake Martin, and it's good to hear everybody. Bless the SAMRC. Diddly-da-de-da.
Okay, Sam, thank you, sir. Thank you much. KF4TXQ, W4AMI. A friend of mine up in Asheville runs 3 813s, and it works out very well. I think he's got about 2,500 volts on them, and they behave very well. He uses them up to 20. I think you get up to high bands. It could be a little tough, but for our kind of use, it should work well. Good luck with it. Let's see. Next on the list is the last officer we'll hear from tonight, and that's our treasurer. And Eddie, come on in here. How are you tonight? KA4AMI from W4AMI.
W4AMI. This is KA4AMI. Well, good evening there, Stan. I'm sorry. I'm glad you made it back from your trip. I drove back Saturday for 6 hours, and I was exhausted when I got home. But anyway, if I was any better, I'd have to have a twin. That's how good we are down here. It's almost embarrassing, as I say sometimes. Well, Stan and Alan, thank you so much for doing our net tonight, and just the wonderful job both of you do. We all appreciate it. I'm speaking for the whole group, I suppose. I hope so. Anybody that doesn't like it, we need to speak up. Anyway, we're not, nothing big going on here. We've just been sitting around watching it rain on and off, and basically breathing air and occupying space, if you know what I mean. Looking forward to the better weather coming up toward the end of this week. I think it's supposed to be really nice up through the weekend, so we're looking forward to that here. And summer's not too far away. We were having lunch yesterday, looked out the kitchen window, and 2 hummingbirds were right there at the window looking at us, like, where is our feeder? And it's not there yet. So I guess we're going to have to get the hummingbird feeders out so they can come on back. So I guess that's a good sign that summer's just around the corner. It's good to hear everybody. And by the way, N4AMI has a YouTube channel called Wavelength Radio. And he has been broadcasting our net and several other nets on YouTube. and you can pull it up and see what your signal sounds like. Now, I'm not sure exactly where John's location is right when he's taping us, but I hear some YouTube channel stuff from all over the United States from different organizations he tapes. But anyway, it sounds real good. He must be up north. I'm sure Stan knows where he is, or Bob, but he's moved in this area. So anyway, with that, we're on the Gates BC1G listening on 75.84 and just having a good time here. Everybody stay safe and healthy, and we'll say 7-3 for now. Stan, back to you. For AMI, this is KA4 AMI.
Okay, Eddie, one point of clarification. You mentioned N4 AMI. Did you mean N9 AMI? Go ahead.
I did. N9 AMI, John. Yeah, and he has his channel is Wavelength Radio, I believe, and he has been the last couple of nets he's posted on YouTube. So if you want to hear yourself and re-listen to the net, well, then there it is. W4 AMI. This is KA4 AMI.
Okay, Eddie, got it. Okay, appreciate it. Glad you passed that along, Eddie. Could be something really good to watch. You were doing well here tonight. You're about 15 over 9. Good loud signal. A little bit of hum on it tonight, but I think you've been tracking that down, so we'll get that eventually. Okay, finish the officers, and now we'll take a standby for any regular stations that would like to join us for the evening. Come on in now. W4 AMI listening.
W4KM. W4OLJ.
Okay, picked up 2. We picked up Bill. I guess you're able to hear now. You weren't hearing earlier. WA4DDH, we have you on the list. You'll be up in a bit. And also W4OLJ. Hello there, my friend. Good to hear you tonight. Okay, next on the list is Mac up in Ball Ground. W4AX. Go ahead.
All right, thank you, Stan. I'll keep it pretty brief, and thank you for running the net and running legal limit carrier tonight. And I'm glad you had fun with the grandkids. And Ray, I'm glad you got to go out to that graduation in Texas and spend time out there. And Alan, I'm just 30 minutes away from you, so anytime you need some help with the project, I'm a phone call away. And Perry, continued blessings to Will, as I said during the pre-net. And if you're not sick when you go in the hospital, you'll be sick when you come out. And I think that Will got a little bit of that, so I'm sorry for that. My next couple of days are going to be covered up with pressure washing, trying to get the pollen off of everything. So I have a commercial pressure washer. Problem is, it's so powerful, it doggone near knocks me off my feet every time I pull the trigger. And we were covered up with lightning here last week, so I wasn't able to check into the net. Other than that, just been doing some laser CNC work, engraving champagne glasses and those vacuum thermos bottles, etc., for friends and family. All right, Stan, back to you, and thanks again. W4AMI, W4AX Ball Ground.
Okay, thank you, Mac. Good to hear you tonight. Good signal down here, obviously. Okay, next on the list is Perry, K4CWW, and Perry, it's been mentioned before, and I can share with you that the King family have Will and the rest of the family in our prayers. How you doing tonight? K4CWW. This is W4AMI. Over.
K4CWW. Well, I appreciate that, and I don't mean this in a flippant way, but we need all the help we can get. Anything that comes in the way of support is appreciated. I've been seeing some result of that because he's been pretty low down in the valley, and he's trying to come up the other side. We'll see what happens. Signals in general very good here. XM was terrific last time. I'm running a busted loop antenna, and I've been running this thing for a while, and next time I receive it seems to be promising. Maybe it's better than a full loop. And while you guys were talking, I pulled up N9 AMI here on QRZ, and John McGrath, his address for QRZ purposes, P.O. Box 1422, Silver Springs, Nevada. He says in here that he has test stations and stations in Nevada and Georgia. Both stations can be operated remotely. So I haven't got down to, if I scroll down and I see some more stuff coming, I haven't gotten around to that yet. Actually says I have lived in Minnesota, Nevada, and Florida. So I don't know he got a station, radio station in Georgia, but it doesn't indicate he lived in Georgia. So I don't know what to do with it. But anyway, I appreciate the quality of time to get in a few words here, and all I say is God bless you all, and thank you so much. It's a comfort to me to have the net available. And I was really worried when my antenna got busted 2 days ago by that nasty tree, but I'm just tuning it up and trucking on. It actually seems to be kind of doing something. I have a little reflected power, but not much. Looks like about 15 watts maybe, so the tuner almost got it. You can't quite totally get it. But if it stays like this, I may leave it alone, because actually the background noise is quieter with the antenna like this. So I don't know. Go figure that. Okay, W4AMI, back to you, K4CWW.
Okay, Perry, thank you. Thank you, Perry. Thank you for sticking with us. Appreciate it. Next up is, and I forgot him a little bit ago, and I'm going to be going back and fix that right now. Our pre-net control dude, N4OZI. Your transmission there, young man. Come on in, Alan, W4AMI.
Okay, Stan, that caught me off guard. I was over here in the ham shop working on something else. N4OZI. To really say, let's see, did send the Drake R4B off to Tennessee to get refurbished. The guy that did the TX4B did such a nice job. I mean, this thing looks brand new. That the Drake R4B was looking kind of shabby beside it. So I thought, well, now I got to get it fixed up. So he does a fantastic job. He cleans them off and redoes the knobs, the whites and the knobs and the chrome and all that kind of stuff. He's just an expert at those Drakes. And I had gotten a service manual for the Drake B-line, and that really helped it. Found the problem with it working on AM, and got that capacitor replaced, and it's working a lot better on AM now. So it's a control carrier on AM. It's a little odd. It takes a little getting used to, but it sounds real good and does real well. So I decided to go ahead and send the receiver off. It was working fine. It just needs a cosmetic upgrade. So I should get that back in about a month. Probably about a month it should show up, and I get the Drake line connected back up. The only thing I got problems with is it's not doing too good on sideband audio-wise. But AM and audio sounds really good. And so that's what's been going on here in the ham shack. So that's it. And Dr. I'm interested to hear more updates on your DX60B and HR10 receiver. That's seen so many of those over the years, and I've never had a DX60B. I've seen so many of them at Hamfest, but none of them have ever followed me home. But maybe I might have to change that one day. That's about it, Stan. Not much else going on. Just getting ready. Got our daughter coming in for a visit at the beginning of June. She'll be with us for a week. She's getting her PhD out there at Indiana University, and she's visiting us for a while then before she heads back. So we're kind of getting ready for her visit. So back to you then, Stan. Appreciate you calling that, and it's great to hear everybody on here tonight. W4 AMI. This is N4OZI.
Alan, thank you, because you really have the hard job. You write the script for me, and all I have to do is sit here and read it. But you do a great job with the pre-net, and thank you much, and God bless your daughter, and wish her well up at Indiana. It's a wonderful, wonderful university. Okay, next on the list is. That's what I thought. Okay. Yep, he's on here. W4OB. Ray, how are you tonight? Good to hear you, and welcome aboard. W4OB, W4AMI.
W4AMI, this is W4OB. Well, a very good evening to you, Stan. You're sounding good from Walhalla. You really are. And Alan, I just wanted to make a quick comment. I know your sweet little daughter has QRZ page with your little daughter sitting in the captain's chair of your ham shack. This was probably 20 years ago, and now she's getting her PhD at the University of Indiana. Time does pass, but she was a sweetheart. She still is, so very, very good. And let's see, Mac, if you're still listening, I hope you are. I remember vividly how, you were so nice to drive us to Huntsville. Maybe it was last year, and in your F-150. And I still remember our stop at Buc-ee's in Calhoun, Georgia. And I had never been to a Buc-ee's before, but you showed me all about it. And sure enough, it's one of my favorites now. And, they have one, we were in Texas. They have one in New Braunfels, Texas. And, boy, is the fudge ever good. Nan really likes the fudge. She bought about, I think you buy 6 cubes for the price of 4. So we gave 5 to our son Matt's family, and we kept one, or Nan kept one, and they are really great. So thanks again, Matt, for putting us on to Buc-ee's. Let's see, a couple of quick comments. Way to go, Dr. Ron, on getting that classic 36 Mosley up. I had a Mosley years ago, and I parted with it. But mine was like a Mosley Junior, but it really worked well on 10, 15, and 20. But unfortunately, I let it go. So, but I'm glad you got yours up. And let's see. And our son, of course, our son Matt is in Texas. He and his family north of New Braunfels. But our son Chris is visiting with us, and he actually went to, I wish I had been able to go with him, but he went to the Atlanta Braves Dodgers baseball game tonight over at Truist Park in Marietta, Georgia. So I know he's having a good time. In fact, I'm going to tune in and see how the Braves are doing in that game. And one other quick comment, we mentioned all those great green Keith kits. Well, I wanted to tell you, you're all sounding great in my Mohawk receiver. So I think it's the RX-1 is the official designation. It's not quite as heavy as the Apache, but getting there for sure. But you all sound great. So again, thanks to you, Alan, for doing a great pre-net, and thank you to you, Stan, for doing a great net control this evening. 73 to all. W4 AMI. This is W4OB 73.
Okay, thank you, Ray, and good evening to you. Good signal here. You're about 10 over 9 tonight. Copying you well tonight. Next up is, I'm going to go back and pick up Kevin, because I think he's back from the kitchen. He checked back in a bit, so he was up near the top, so we'll pull him back in here. WA4KM, W4AMI. Go ahead, Kevin. How you doing tonight?
Okay, thank you, Stan. Hope everybody's doing good this evening. W4AMI. This is WA4KM. Kevin over here in Villarica, City of Gold, and doing a great job, Stan. Good net. Alan, good free net. Appreciate y'all guys getting in here. Everyone's sounding really good. The band's actually quiet. It's been really noisy with the storms the last couple of weeks, actually, even. But I'm cooking everybody just fine. And congrats on that, Dr. Ron, on the 33 getting it up. Those are great antennas. I actually pulled mine down. I had some problems, and I put this hex beam up, but just because it had 6 and not 5 other bands, but things are ready to roll. Dan, I don't know if he's listening or not. W4CDJ had came down and picked up 2 of those Rangers I had. I kept loose, obviously, but he picked up a couple other ones that I had with push to talk, and they looked and worked perfect. One has been recapped, so he's pleased with those, and he's back home up in Indiana. So anyway, I'll turn it back to you, Stan. That's about it here from Villarica. Thanks again for calling that, and you got a beautiful signal too, by the way. Audio's just right. W4AMI, WA4KM.
All right, Mr. Kevin. Thank you. Appreciate the thoughts. Appreciate your comments about the audio. Spent a lot of time tweaking on that. Oh, let's see here. Let's move on to let's move out to K5 land. Don, K5HFG, your transmission. This is W4AMA and the South AMI and the Southeast AM Radio Club Swap and Fellowship Net. Don, come on in.
Okay, W4AMA. Thank you, Stan. Good evening, and thanks for doing the net.
Ron, he's way down. I'm going to need a lift.
Everybody else is sounding clear. Just isn't right tonight. Something ain't right about the propagation. I've been keeping an eye on it, and
Okay. Thank you, Don. At the beginning of your transmission, Don, I broke in and asked Ron to give me a hand because you were way down. But as you went on with the transmission, your signal came up. So I finally, near about the 2/3 mark, you were a solid copy here. And Ron, thank you for doing it. Good to hear you tonight, Don. And boy, it's interesting. I guess maybe the band is not really quite too long. Not hearing anybody up in the Northeast this evening either. So it's a propagation comment. Next up, Billy, is KO4SSY. Your transmission, sir. Go ahead.
W4AMI. This is KO4SSY, and I hope this. I should have pushed the red button from listening to some of the other guys, but oh well. If the multi-LMAC can't get it done, I guess it won't get done tonight. So, thank you, Stan, for picking me up over here as usual. There's Eddie Brown and everyone already just come strolling right on through. So, there's just some of the other stuff out that's kind of struggling with now. So, that's just the way it's been. It was horrible last Thursday night on the mullet net. So, but we got through it. So, thank you for persevering and hanging forth, and not too bad. So back over to you, W4AMI. This is KO4SSY.
Yeah, okay, Billy. This is W4AMI. It's this time of the year from now until mid to late October, it's always going to be a crapshoot, but that's the way. It is the way. It is what makes it fun, Billy. You never know exactly what's coming. Good to hear you tonight. Thank you. This is the Southeastern AM Radio Club Swap and Fellowship Net that meets weekly here on Tuesday nights on 3885, and I'm going to take a standby to see if we have any late comers. Come on now, please.
November 4 Alpha Kilo, Stan.
Whiskey 4 Mike Alpha.
Okay, I recognize N4AK. Glenn, good evening to you. And Bill, likewise with you tonight, W4MA. Anyone else? Okay, don't hear anyone else, so we'll move on with the list. Next up is K3FZD. Larry, go ahead.
W4AMI, K3FZD. Very good. Not much happening here. I did some work outside, chopping down some bushes a little bit. The grounds and the growth and things are just sometimes out of control. So at any rate, that kept me busy for a while. And now I'm back inside taking it easy, listening to the radio. So thank you for picking me up. W4AMI, K3FZD.
All right, Larry. Well, thank you for joining your friends tonight. Happy to have you. Sounds good tonight, Larry. You continue to work on that sucker, and it's sounding better by the week. Okay, next up is W4GUZ. Brandon, your time at bat. Go ahead.
Okay, Stan. W4AMI, W4GUZ in Hawk, North Carolina. Thanks for picking me up on QSB tonight. I'm hearing everyone thus far. Beautiful day here, but it's dropped down to about 60 degrees here, about 33-ish, 100 feet. Stan, glad you made it back safely from your trip. And hope everyone has a good Memorial Day weekend coming up. Thoughts and prayers with those who have sickness in their family. Perry has been following along. We don't speak much, but remembering your son Will in their prayers. And I pray that God touches his body. My 88-year-old grandmother, this is her 9th day without fluids or food. I'm not sure how she's holding on, but she opened her eyes and moved her hand today during a visit. So it's about time for her to transition from her earthly body to her heavenly body. So, and there's no doubt in my mind where she's headed. Thank you, Stan, for what you do, and Alan, thank you. I didn't quite make it in time for the pre-net to chat with you, but thanks to all those involved on the 20V2 tonight and listening on a GPR 90, which pretty impressive. Picked that up at Sevierville this spring. I hope to catch y'all back Thursday and again next week. W4AMI, W4GUZ.
Okay, Brandon. 20V2 sounds good tonight. Indeed. This is W4AMI. I forgot to mention back at the outset. I'm running the transmitter exciter is the Apache Labs 7000 that I have been using recently, but not using the receiver side of it tonight, using the NC303. I'm finally learning how to use it. It's quite a receiver, and give it a good performance tonight. Okay, next up is W4OLJ in Sweetwater. Virgil, how are you today, my friend? Over.
W4AMI and the net. This is W4OLJ. Well, okay, Stan. Well, we're doing pretty good. Been a very nice day here in Sweetwater Valley today. It was good to see you today, Stan. You and your wife enjoyed the visit. And we got out this afternoon putting up posters for our antique tractor show that was coming up. So we got up several posters today and got started on that. So not much going on. Like many others, we're keeping the sick folks in our thoughts and prayers, all of them, and all of them on the air here, the radio folks, and then we've got several around here too that we're keeping in our thoughts and prayers. So that's about it, I guess, Stan. Doing a great job, and everybody's sounding good tonight. The band's getting better. It's a whole lot better already than it was when we first started. So back to you, and I'll just sit here and listen to all these good signals. W4AMI, this is W4OLJ in Sweetwater.
Okay, Virgil. Oh, God, you ratted me out. W4OLJ, W4K, W4AMI. Yes, John and I on our way back, detoured a little bit. Stopped and visited with Virgil and Bill for a bit, and then headed home. Man, it's the first time I've heard Virgil. Good grief. It's got a workout today, but it's let's see, just about 4 o'clock. Just about 4 o'clock when we get back. So anyway, thank you for your hospitality, Virgil. We enjoyed it, and next time we'll stay a little bit longer. Let's see here. Next up is a new fellow to us. It's Bill, W4 Delta Hotel, W4DDH, who's located over in Darlington, South Carolina. I think he's got things clicking here on AM tonight. Let's see if he's still copying us. Bill, your transmission, come on in and tell the boys a bit about yourself. WA4DDH, this is W4AMI. Go ahead.
Well, very good there, W4AMI, WA4DDH. You're recruiting a little bit.
Okay, Bill. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate having you. Southeastern AM Radio Club has a membership roster of slightly in excess of 290 at this point. Over 290 folks have come this way, and with a membership. And how you do that is it can be found on 4ami.org. It's all on the website. And typically we'll have somewhere between 15 and 27, 28 folks appear on Tuesday nights. Are always happy to review. Next up is the N4AK, my neighbor over to the east here. Hey, how are you tonight, Glenn? Go ahead.
Well, Stan, W4AMI group, November 4 Alpha Kilo. Not much going on here. I had to sort my co-out today that I had run some of my things a little longer than I anticipated. Lots of turnover. So, not really much going on. AMI. November 4 Alpha Kilo, Sunset, South Carolina.
Okay, Glenn. Well, since I visited, I can say it. For running a Viking Ranger virtual puts in a pretty good signal. It's surprising. Oh well. Next up is Bill, W4AMA. Go ahead, Bill, W4AMI listener.
Yeah, W4AMI and the net from W4MA. Good evening, Stan. Good evening to the net. All those that are out there still. Stan, your Apache Labs is 7,000, sounding pretty good. I hope you received me okay on your NC 303. I'm just a little east of LJ, Georgia. I'm running a Ranger 1 and a Johnson Curry amp, about 200 on the carrier. Helicopter's SX100 and a off-center fed dipole up about 50 to 60 feet, depending on where you're standing. Anyway, we've been away a couple of weeks. It's good to be back, a little bit back to normality. Just got in the Shackley, turned it on, and I happened to check in and say good evening. Hope all is well. W4AMI from Whiskey 4 Mike Alpha.
Yeah, great, Bill. Thank you. Doing well here. Doing well signal-wise tonight. This is W4AMI, Southeastern AM Radio Club. I've come to the end of the list, and before we shut down tonight, going to take a standby to see if we have any latecomers. Come on in now, if you will. Okay, didn't hear anybody. With that, we'll bring the net activity for this Tuesday to a close. But thank you for coming. And as has been stated throughout the net, prayers welcome, especially for our folks who are under the weather. And we have somebody in the family that kind of fits in that category. We don't talk about it much, but there is some of that here. And understand and appreciate the power of prayer. Everyone stay well, and the Lord willing, next Tuesday night, come on back, and Sam and Kevin will be here. And then following week, Alan and I will be back. Remember, there's another net on Monday night, the Eagles, that meet about our same time, and likewise the Mullets on Thursday evening, and I think they're running right about the same time we do now, also during the summer. This is W4AMI saying good night. Take care. God bless. See everybody soon.